verbal riot.
What's happening, y'all? Happy Thursday. Happy N7 Day to you Mass Effect fans, which I will be talking about a little bit later today. But guys, it's a new day in America, right? Something big happened. Donald Trump did the impossible, did what none of us thought he could do, to be honest with you. Donald Trump beat Beyonce. Donald Trump beat Beyonce against all odds, right? I mean, she's the queen. I mean, no one was expecting him to beat her, but he did. And here we are now calling him President-elect Donald Trump. Of course I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. He beat Kamala Harris, and he beat her by a lot. He beat her by a lot. And am I surprised by this? No, look, I'm not surprised that he beat her. I'm surprised by how much, though. And maybe because I underestimated people's intellect. I underestimated. I thought most people were going to just vote for her because they're dumb. But apparently America was more with it than I thought, man. I got to give America credit. And honestly, it makes me feel good to be an American, knowing that there's a lot of people out there who put country first. Now, there are some people who are not handling this well, but we're going to get to them in a minute. I think first we need to talk about why Kamala lost, right? Like, I think that's important. So I'm just going to put this up really quickly. So, I mean, you can look at the map, man. That is a lot of red. That's a lot of red. That's a lot of angry, pissed off, fed up and discouraged Americans, man, who had enough. That's what all that red means. Now, if the Democrats were smart, which we know they're not, you would think they would take this time to reflect on why they lost so big, why the country screamed, "We don't want Kamala Harris." You would think they would take the time to think about what they did wrong. And I'm not talking about the campaign. No. I'm talking about everything since Biden's been in office that they've done wrong. I want them to think about the culture that they've curated, right? This woke culture, this DEI culture they cultivated, the smugness, right? How they look down or talk down to normal everyday Americans. I mean, you would think they would just take this time to really think about why they lost this so big. But here's the thing, they're not. No, of course they're not. They are blaming us. They're blaming us. Oh, and they're still calling us bigots, by the way. They're still calling us bigots. They're still calling us basically every name they did before. Except now, though, the target is no longer white men. The target is Black and Latino men. We're the reason Kamala lost. Or at least that's what all the left-leaning legacy media is saying. Will they learn their lesson? No. Guys, we've had 4 years of this. A lot of these people are, and I am going to watch my language here. They need help. They need help. Because did they really think for a second we were going to put reproductive rights, abortion rights, above food on the table, above rent, above cost of living, gas, providing for our families? Did they really think we were going to put abortion rights at the top of our list when people are living paycheck to paycheck? right? Doing the what's it called? The the utility bingo, right? Trying to figure out which utility you can afford to pay this month, and which utility, if you have to do it out, you could. Did they really think we were going to put abortion above that? This is crazy to me that they thought that they would win on this platform. And sure enough, they didn't. They lost terribly. They lost terribly and deservingly so, man. We're fed up. We were fed up. And I got to tell you guys, man, I voted for the first time in my life Tuesday. I voted for the first time as a Republican. Now, I didn't vote as a Republican. I voted the Republican ticket because I still consider myself politically homeless. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But Trump is the first Republican I have ever voted for. And I got to be honest with you. It felt good. It felt fine. I walked out of there thinking, this is the first time in years I haven't had to hold my nose as I placed my vote. I walked out with my whole chest out. I'm like, and yeah, of course, California is going to vote blue no matter what. So I know in a way my vote doesn't even count, really, in California. But it felt good to do it anyway. Because you know what? I realized this is the first time I think I voted, like really voted, where I know I put country first. Like I know I did. Right? Like I didn't vote just because I'm supposed to vote a certain way. And that's sad to say, as a 50-year-old man, this is the first time I voted where I felt like, yeah, I put country first with this vote. But not everyone's handling this well, man. Yeah. I mean, if you go on social media, it's a circus. People are flipping out, losing their minds, and the rhetoric, my life is in danger now. You put everyone I love in danger. All the same stupid shit they said during COVID, right? Remember that? You're putting lives in danger because you're not wearing a mask. That doesn't help anyway. They love to use that line, man, of my life's in danger. These people are professional victims. Professional victims. And they exaggerate so much. And it's like they exaggerate so much. They're so over the top with it. Now, yeah, if you go to social media, which I'm about to do, you'll see a lot of videos. And I even debated showing some of these videos because I do feel like most of them, if I'm being honest, are staged. Right? These people, they did 2 and 3 takes before they decided on posting their meltdown video. But there's a lot of them. And I think some of them are genuine. But let's just take a look at how at least TikTok reacted when Trump won.
How did we get here? How did we get here? What in the Alice in Wonderland nightmares is going on right now?
All I can say is how fucking dare you?
If you voted for that man, if you voted for anybody other than Kamala and you live in one of the states that it was, close, or if you didn't vote, fuck you.
Senate race. It's not going to happen. Go Kamala.
I chose family. I chose women. I chose America. I love you.
How the fuck is this still happening? All I've ever known politically is hatred.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
Y'all. These are Kamala voters right here. Everyone who voted for Kamala, you're looking at them.
I'm sorry to all my friends who are Trump supporters. I don't understand how scared of this man I am. If this guy does end up winning again, all of the people who voted for him will be like happy and he'll just be.
She's right. I'm very happy.
Celebrating. And everyone else, everyone who feels threatened by him is fucking scared. Like,
what are they afraid of? Right? See, you know why this doesn't work anymore, guys? Because we've already had 4 years of him. Did he do any of the things they said he was going to do? Did he round them up and put them in camps? Did he stop gay marriage? Did he do any of the things that they accused him of? Even with the terrible cabinet he had? No. That's why none of this works anymore. It doesn't work. Because, okay, this might have worked before when Trump was an unknown factor, right? Sure. We've had 4 years of Trump. So we know he's not that guy. We know he's not that guy. So all of this is a performance. Let's keep going.
We're scared for our lives. We're scared for our friends.
How dare you put this man into office for another 4 years, knowing damn well what it means for our country, what it means for us as a people.
To know that there is that much ignorance and that much hate in this country, it's so terrifying. It's so terrifying.
Yet they can't tell you what the hate actually is. Right? See, what I think they perceive as hate, if I'm being honest with you, is they're not used to people being upfront with them. They're not used to people being, dare I say it, even a little mean. That's not hate. That's not hate.
How the fuck are we back in this same situation again?
Actually, that's a really good question. They should be asking themselves right now. How is it that Trump was able to beat their candidate again? How was it? And by so much, right? No, really, that's a legit question. She asked a very legit question. How did this happen again? That's something they should be asking themselves right now. Well, they'll have the next 4 years to be asking themselves that, but
who the fuck is voting for him?
Oh,
genuinely.
Me.
Fuck you. I don't want to hear about how shitty your life gets under his policies. Live with that decision. Sit with it. Let it make you uncomfortable. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, so some people just aren't handling this well. Hold on. Oh, wait, there's another video. I forgot about this one. Now this one I think is fake. I think it might be a performance, but we'll watch it anyway. It's the one making the rounds. There we go.
Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
Yeah. Maybe it's real. I don't know.
Sorry.
But maybe it's real. It doesn't look like it to me, but whatever. You know, these people, they're doing this for clicks. They're doing it for clicks. Now, some of them are really butthurt. Okay, let's put that out there. Some of them are very butthurt. Some of them are crazy. So they are really scared that something's going to happen to them. But these are the same people who, to this day, will literally go out in their front yard wearing a mask. Those kind of people. You know what I mean? The kind who drive in their cars by themselves wearing a mask. You know what this feels like, guys, to me? If I'm being honest. What it feels like, and I made this comparison before. it feels like I don't know, like 80s patriotism. You know what I mean? Like I remember back in the 80s, we had like all those, I mean, they were obviously propaganda movies, but you had like Rambo, you had all the Missing in Action, right, with Chuck Norris, right? It was always us against the Reds, right? Us against the Russians, right? And there was this sense of this pro-America, like, screw you guys, we're the best, right? We're America, right? Even though America had its problems, ton of racism, ton of other things going on back in those days. Wasn't all great the way some Gen Xers like to paint it, but it was a more unifying time. It was a more unifying time. I mean, let's be honest here. There was a time when in the hood, you could walk down the street in the hood and hear somebody playing Duran Duran. Okay, like the music really brought us together back in the 80s, but so did pro-America propaganda movies. But you still felt a sense of patriotism, right? Like when you watched Rambo, you were like, yeah, get those commies, man. We lost that, guys. Like we lost, like Top Gun. When you were with Maverick and Goose, and you wanted to be a pilot and go fight the Reds, right? And we lost that, man, for so long. And it was so weird that yesterday I felt that again for the first time. I felt that sense of, yeah, this is America. This is my country. And it has been hijacked. It's been infiltrated by people who don't love this country. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. They'll never come out and just straight up admit it, but they hate this country. They've shown that every time they've talked down to people who, work on toilets, who work on cars, right? People who don't have a degree, right? People who don't live in the big cities. You can tell by the way they talk to these people that they think that they're above them and better than them and know better than them. They're so out of touch. They literally thought we were going to rally around abortion as the number one topic in this country. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I had problems making my rent this month. Right? Like I had to scramble. And you're telling me that I should care whether a woman could have, 8, 10, 14 abortions because she doesn't want to use birth control? No, bruh. No. This is why y'all lost. Take the L. Take the L. And you know what? Take the L and learn from it. Just learn from it. Right? I'm not going to beat you over the head. I'm not going to do victory laps. Right? I'm not going to do victory laps here. I'm just saying learn from it. People are sick of this, man. Oh, and here's a dirty little secret that they really need to think about. A lot of the people who voted against Kamala and voted for Trump were Democrats. Registered Democrats voted for Trump. So you guys got more problems than you realize. But it's been a wild couple of days, man. Oh, guys, I gotta show you this, man. I forgot all about this video. So again, people losing it online. Here's another one. Anna, that Star Wars girl, posted this one, or she retweeted it earlier, and I couldn't believe what I was watching, man. This woman has decided in order to screw the patriarchy. Damn it might be copyrighted music. But anyway. Oh, you know what? Let me just turn the sound off. There we go. So she decided to shave her head off in order to stick it to the patriarchy, in order to stick it to the male gaze. This is wild stuff. Look at this. She is literally shaving off all of her hair to stick it to us. She's not the only one, by the way. There's a lot of women who are on social media right now talking about they're going to give up sex with men because they no longer want to serve the patriarchy. So basically what they're saying is it took Donald Trump winning in this election for them to stop being hoes. Donald Trump saved them from hoedom. Donald Trump saved them from whoredom. Because it's because of him they decided to close their legs. I shit you not. This is what is going around the bend right now. And I don't want it to look like I'm laughing at their pain, but I'm laughing at their pain. The way they laughed at our pain for 4 years, smugly, condescendingly. So I know it sucks. It sucks. The medicine is always hard to take. But again, Democrats need to ask themselves where they went wrong. Because there was a time, or at least they pretended to be, they used to be the party of the people, right? The downtrodden. The everyday man. Or they pretended to be. I know the truth, but and they've completely lost touch with that. Or at least that message. And this is what happens when radical activists overtake your party. And guys, hear me out. Hear me out. I want you I want this to be very clear. I am going to hold Trump's feet to the fire. I am going to scrutinize this man just as much as I did Biden. I want Trump to deliver on his promises. I want him to deliver on what he ran on. Right? I want the swamp drained. So I'm going to hold him to that. Right? He's not getting a free pass. Like I said, I'm not a Republican. I just want change. And this is why I don't identify with any party, because I don't want any party to think they own my vote. You know, I've had too many years of that when I was a Democrat. That people thinking they own my vote without having to work for it. And you know who taught me that lesson in a weird way was Ice Cube. I heard Ice Cube talking, and he was just like, why do we consistently give our vote to people and get nothing in return? And that message, man, it rang throughout my whole body. I was like, you know what? Shit, Cube, you're right. You're right, man. What am I doing? Why am I loyal to a party that has done nothing for me? Every other group has somebody, champion their causes to these political parties, except for Black people. No, what Black people get is rappers twerking on stage, right? We get Beyonce and we get Cardi B's. We get that kind of garbage. We get White House parties where, Kamala invites DJs, right? And has a bunch of young black college kids dancing a jig, right, for the vote. No, 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 no. Nobody gets my vote unless I think they are going to give me what I'm looking for. So I'm going to hold Trump accountable, just like I did Biden. I'm not going to give him any slack, right? Obviously, he's just coming into office. I get that, guys. I'm not stupid, right? There's a lot of things he has to undo. But here's the thing. I want to see him undoing those things. Take it all apart. I want to see him. I want to see Tulsi. I want to see RFK. I want to see all of them in there doing what they said they were going to do. And Vance too. That's what I voted for. But before I go on, I just want to get to a few comments because I probably should do that. All right. Super chat from Darth Plato for $5. Harris has to certify the election. Can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that either. Nicholas Cruiser for $5. They legitimately have the memory of goldfish, of a goldfish. 4 years of amnesia for so many people. They that's what I like to call playing stupid, right? They love to play stupid. They're not stupid, but they love to play it. They feel like it gives them an out. Let's read a couple more comments. CD Sign 69. The Democrats constantly have the bigotry of low expectations when it comes to Black and Latino communities. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. The racism of low expectations, right? The patting on the head. No, let me speak for you because you're too stupid to know what you're talking about. Liberal racism hits very different, right, than say conservative racism, because I've dealt with both, and I much prefer the racist who is just upfront about it and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm racist. I don't like you because of blah blah blah." It's like, good, okay, now I know, and we have an understanding, right? We have an understanding. I don't like you. You don't like me. Cool. Liberal racism's a little different. It's a pandering kind of racism. It's a more insulting kind of racism than any other racism. Speaking of which, let me pull this up really quickly because I need you guys to understand what I'm talking about here. Here we go. So this guy, I saw this right before I was about to start my show. This guy decided, and by the way, this guy is a progressive liberal, doesn't hide that fact. He posted this. Sorry about that. He wrote, "Yep, if you're Black and you voted for Trump, don't complain when you're picking cotton by hand for the plantation owner you voted for." See, they can't hide their racism. They try so hard to hide it, right? Under the guise of progressivism, being progressive, being the party of love. Everybody, right? The rainbow, the whole deal. And then you have the truth that comes out, right? Because they can only hide the shit for so long. This dude literally said, if you're Black and you voted for Trump, don't complain when you're picking cotton. I'll be honest, I haven't heard nothing that racist in a long time. Like, that's some old school racism right there. I mean, that is some old school racism, bruh. Like, I don't even know where he pulled that from. But he thought he was cooking. He thought he was cooking. This is a Kamala voter. The same man who voted for Kamala, an Asian black woman, is also telling black people that, we're going to be picking cotton. Don't let them fool you guys. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. They call us bigots, right? They call us all kind of names. It's projection. They're projecting what they really feel about minorities, right? I mean, they this dude wrote this, and by the way, he wrote this and he still has it up. Even after all the comments he's getting, he still thinks he's in the right and he's keeping it up. So he is standing 10 toes down on this comment he made. That is wild. But you know what, though? Hurt people, right? He's got 4 years to deal with this. Right now, this guy is in the 5 stages of grief. And I think he's still in denial, which is the first stage. He's still in stage 1. It's gonna be a rough 4 years for a lot of people. And you know what? Good, because it's been a rough 4 years for all of us. Speaking of rough, though, let's get into the legacy media, because the legacy media is having a really hard time with all of this. So the legacy media has decided the reason why Kamala lost is purely at the feet of Black and Latino men. We're the reasons. We costed her the election. I want you guys to check out this video, man. This this is cope. This is nothing but pure cope. This is from CNN.
But it's not just misogyny from white men.
Mm-hmm.
It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before. A lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of
with other Hispanics. You got some that don't like each other.
By the way, why are they still inviting Al Sharpton? Al Sharpton, shady ass Al Sharpton, to these things. Why? Why do they think? Why to this day they still think he speaks for black people? I don't get it, man.
And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic, and we've got to have real, honest conversations about it.
Real.
So there they go. There they go. Literally blaming black and Latino men for her losing. Not looking at themselves and what they did wrong, but finger pointing, placing the blame. Here's another one from the hens at The View. Oh, you know this is going to be intelligent, boy.
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the
That's
it's on
why.
the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep.
So
and they were begging people to care about it for years. We
Misogyny
need
and
to take some
sexism,
lessons.
that's what that was.
Lessons
You see the smugness in their faces, the arrogance. As the one, I don't even know their names. I know Sunny is the one in the white because she's obnoxiously loud on social media and other places. But the one in the red, she's saying, okay, here's the reason why possibly Latino men could have voted the way they did. She mentions the border, which is a very legitimate point, right? But no, this stupid chick right here, Sunny, is constantly yelling misogyny, sexism over and over. And look at her face, like she knows she's right.
They're not.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Oh my gosh, it's Whoopi.
They're so but anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of blame shifting happening instead of lessons being learned, like I keep saying. And if we're being honest, that they were blaming black men and Latino men before the election, right? They had Obama try to chastise black men. Remember when he was lecturing black men on how stupid we are for not voting for Kamala Harris, having them go to barbershops, because we Negroes love to congregate at the barbershop, right? And the basketball courts. So they had Obama go to where the black folks are and lecture black men on why they need to vote for Kamala Harris. Talk to us like we're children, actually. Like we're going to get a whooping if we don't vote for Kamala Harris. The arrogance. This is why they lost. Guys, if you want to know the reason Kamala lost, it's one word: arrogance. Arrogance is why they lost. And not just Kamala. Democrats lost yesterday. I'm sorry, Tuesday, because of arrogance. It's their own fault. But nah, let's keep pointing the fingers at other people, right? It's everybody else's fault. I honestly, I'm kind of happy this is happening. If I'm being real with you guys. See, I wanted the legacy media to die for a long time, and they are. The problem is that they're still holding on. They're still trying to kick and scream because, let's be honest. No one wants to walk off the plank of the ship, right? You only walk off the plank if you're being forced to. And we are forcing them to walk the plank. They are being replaced every day by us. It's like that Elon tweet, where he said, we are the media now. Yes, we are. And not just for politics and news. We're talking movie reviews, game review, everything that we are the media now. People are trusting us instead of established outlets, right? Like before. We're seeing it with gaming journals. We're seeing it with, film critics. And we're seeing it play out in the media, in the news. People are not going to them anymore. No one trusts CNN. No one trusts MSNBC. And honestly, no one should trust Fox News either. If you want the truth, man, you got to go outside of those places. Because they're all owned by the same people. I'm happy. I'm happy to see legacy media go the way of the dodo. This, everything comes back to Cat Williams, man. Cat Williams at the beginning of this year said everything will be exposed. Everything will be laid bare. Cat Williams is a prophet. He's a prophet, man. Everything he prophesied came to pass. It's amazing to me, man. The American people just had enough. With that said, though, there is one person in the media who's making a lot of sense right now, and I want to play that video. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this chick was talking about basically why they lost.
Some hard truths. No, I'm going to speak some hard truths to my friends in the Democratic Party. This is not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Kamala Harris's fault. It's not Barack Obama's fault. It is the fault of the Democratic Party in not knowing how to communicate effectively to voters. We are not the party of common sense, which is what the message that voters sent to us. For a number of reasons. We don't know how to speak to voters. When we address Latino, and language has meaning. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do. It makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do. When we are too afraid to say that, hey, college kids, if you're trashing a campus at Columbia University because you're unhappy about some sort of policy and you're taking over a university, and you're trashing it and preventing other students from learning, that is unacceptable. But we're so worried about alienating one or another cohort in our coalition that we don't know what to say when normal people look at that and say, wait a second, I send my kids to college so they can learn, not so that they can burn buildings and trash lawns, right? And so on and so forth. When we put pronouns after names and say she, her, as opposed to saying, you know what, if I call you by the wrong pronoun, call me out. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. But stop with the virtue signaling and just speak to people like they're normal. There's nothing I'm going to say to Shermichael that I'm not going to say to you, that I'm not going to say to somebody else. I speak the same language to everybody. But that's not what Democrats do. We constantly try to parse out different ways of speaking to different cohorts because our focus groups or our polling shows that so-and-so appeals to such and such. That's not how normal people think. It's not common sense. And we need to start being the party of common sense again. Joe Biden is not responsible for that. Neither is Kamala Harris. It is a problem that Democrats have had for years. I've been banging the drum on this for, I don't know how, probably 10 years, if not longer on this. We need to get back to being the party of common sense, that people look at us and say, we understand you. We appreciate what you say because you speak our language.
She's 100% right. And everything she just said. 100% right. And it's like I was saying earlier, right? In the way that they speak, it's always either in a lecture or they're talking down. And if we're going to be brutally honest, man, we've had 4 years of the most insane, craziest, wokest shit I've ever seen. Right? We literally had a party at the White House where trannies were taking off their tops and running around topless at the White House, on the White House lawn. I don't care how you feel about politics, man. There needs to be some respect. You know, people were running around half naked. They were showing off their mastectomy scars. They were, doing it looked like it looked like a San Francisco Pride Parade on the White House lawn. I don't care what you feel about any of this stuff as far as, you're for it, you're against it. There's time and place. And there needs to be a certain respect. San Francisco, Boys Town in LA, or Hollywood, I should say. Well, there is an area called Boys Town, but you need to be from here to understand that. Do all that stuff there. Do all that stuff there. You don't do that kind of shit on the White House lawn. In front of the world. World leaders, our enemies, we're watching that. We're watching that. We had to get Trump in office. We had to. Because I'm telling you, man, if Kamala would have won, our enemies would not have respected that. It would just be game over. It would be all missiles launched. Trump had to win. But this woman, what she's saying is completely right. They're out of touch. They've been up their own ass for so long that that they've lost half their party, I think. Guys, that map we saw in the beginning was very red, okay? Very red. And best believe, even though California was blue, Trump got a lot of votes here. I actually would like to see the numbers on that. I'd like to see how many he got in California versus, Kamala. I just want to know the difference. People are sick of it. But you know who's not handling this stuff very well? When we're talking about media and legacy media, the late night guys. Oh man, so Jimmy Kimmel.
Let's be honest, it was.
Oh, Jimmy, I got to show this video. Jimmy Kimmel once again is crying on TV.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO,
it just gives cuck. I'm sorry, it does. I don't want to be that guy, but he's always crying. He's always crying. Like, I joke around a lot, like with Anna, that Star Wars girl, because she infamously got on Kevin Smith's radar when she told him to quit crying and act like a man. And because he's always crying, right? Kevin Smith is always crying. Now, I make apologies for him all the time, just because, look, man, at the end of the day, Kevin Smith is one of those guys who got me into film, wanted me to get into film. I'll always have like a love for Kevin Smith, even though he does piss me off. He does piss me off sometimes, but you know what? It's a 90s thing, a 90s film thing that I can't explain to everybody. So some Gen Xers will understand. But anyway, Jimmy Kimmel's just one of those guys, man. He's one of those guys who just cries at every single turn, like for every little thing. And guys, understand, this is the same guy who used to have a show on ABC called The Man Show. Or I'm sorry, not ABC. It was a cable show called The Man Show, where it was literally just girls wearing skimpy shit and them doing dumb games the whole time. And now he's like this super woke guy. It's wild.
Truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Look at that face. Look at that face. That is that's the face of Cope. That's what Cope looks like. And it's not just him. It's not just him. Nah. Stephen Colbert, the usual suspects. They're all having a hard time. They're all having a hard time with this. And again, guys, I understand it. It's the 5 stages of grief, right? Right now, they're all in denial, and they're all angry, right? Anger is the second stage of grief. I get it. It's fresh. The wound is fresh, right? The beat down just happened Tuesday, right? It's only Thursday. I get it. And maybe that's why I'm being extra like non-confrontational for the most part about it. And also because I feel like, I want to see what Trump does, right? I don't want to sound the horns too early, right? I want to see what he does. So I'm taking everything just kind of step by step. I will say, though, my confidence in what he's going to do is night and day compared to what I thought Kamala was going to do. I'm hopeful for the first time in a while. I'm hopeful, positive. So we'll see what happens. But there are going to be a lot of people who are these next 4 years. It's going to send them straight to the asylum. Like, some of these people aren't going to make it, man. Or they're going to do what Tom Hanks just did. I don't have it up right now, but I just saw something come across my feed that said Tom Hanks has put out a letter that he's leaving the country, that he left the country already. Right? He's not threatening to leave. He left. He's done. You know, super, super rich, wealthy Tom Hanks. The ones that can just move to another country on a whim. The same kind of people who were yelling at people to stay indoors because of the lockdowns when they were living in these really nice mansions, houses, had a pool, right? No reason to ever leave. But yelling at the people who literally had no choice but to go out to work just so that they can live, so they can eat. Those same people. So you know what, Tom? I wish you and your wife, Rita, the best. No, I really don't. But good riddance. Good riddance. And by the way, your last couple of movies sucked. So no big loss for us. All right, man. I'm gonna read a couple of comments. Yeah, guys, I am in a mood today, but you know what? It's a good mood. It's a good mood. Dr. J, that's a terrified celeb facing jail time. Maybe. Chris de Dios. He needs to change his tampon. The dude did blackface when he was at the Man Show. Yep, I remember that. Him, Howard Stern, Sarah Silverman. Yeah, they all did blackface. You know, the progressives. Sentai Range Donnie at Verbal Riot. As a Democrat, I have no issues with Republicans, just Republican policies. That's fine. That's fair, man. Look, again, I don't stick to a party. I don't claim a party anymore. But I have friends who are Democrats and I have friends who are Republicans. The ones that I have, the liberal friends I have left are they're all common sense liberals, right? I've gotten rid of the leftists. So the ones that have remained are common sense liberals. And I don't care about the parties at all. I care about the policies. And I wish more Americans would actually get back into that instead of treating this like a team sport, right? Like your team versus my team. That's the kind of shit that they've been playing off of us for like 40 years, 50 years now. Get back to voting on policy, not party. But anyway, and morals. I mean, come on, and morals, right? Like there's certain things where, you know, even though I'm not a Christian, I respect it, right? Like I respect, you know, if you're a Christian and going with a certain politician or a policy that goes against your morals is a big deal, then I respect that and say, don't ever vote against your morals, ever. You know, that should always come first. But for the most part, you know, always choose policy over politician or party. Matthew Hammond. Hanks is on Epstein's list, and possibly the Diddy list. I've heard rumors about that. I can't say yay or nay to that legally, but I've heard some things. The Black Wizards, policy over tribalism. Yes, absolutely. The sheer ignorance is baffling, and it's sad that people feel more than they think. Yeah, I agree. A lot of people vote on emotion, right? They base their beliefs on emotion instead of fact. In fact, facts has become a dirty word. Proof, evidence, these are all dirty words now. Resist Rebel 375. They are in fear, fleeing like rodents for the potential release of the list. You know, look, man, as far as that whole Diddy thing and the list and all this stuff goes, I it's neither here nor there. Who knows? I think the people who are really worried or who should be worried about that list are the people who have partied with him. How do I say this? Just there are people who are regulars in his circle. Those are the people who should be worried, right? Those are the people. People like Usher. People like Ashton Kutcher, right? Like, and that's just a name too. Like there's others. Those people should be worried. Absolutely. But not everybody who went to one of Diddy's parties. Oh, and definitely Jennifer Lopez, who I'm about to get into in a minute. Not literally, you know, figuratively, of course. Jennifer Lopez should be very worried about that list because she dated Diddy for years. You know, she's been to a lot of Diddy parties and participated in a lot of Diddy parties. So if I were her, I'd be a little concerned. But speaking of J-Lo, you know who else lost really big in this election? Celebrities. Oh, celebrities. They showed their ass this election cycle. They were coming out of the woodwork for Kamala Harris in the cringiest of ways. You know, like I said, Meg Thee Stallion, you know, giving her little concert and twerking all over the stage for Kamala, you know, and then you had, you know, Billie Eilish come in and then all these people and then she nabbed the big fish, which was Taylor Swift. And then she had Julia Roberts and half of Hollywood caping for her, right? Then she grabbed the queen herself, Beyonce. And that didn't even help her. Cardi B. I mean, the list goes on and on. And you know what this election proves? We don't care about any of these people. We don't give a shit about Beyonce, about Taylor Swift. We don't care. LeBron James. Kiss my ass, LeBron. We don't care. No. And what I'm loving right now is the fact that these people are getting humbled. Humbled. They failed. And it proved their star power doesn't mean shit when it comes to most Americans. She literally, guys, I want you to understand the scope of this, okay? Understand the scope. She had Taylor Swift and Beyonce campaigning for her. The two biggest stars in the world. Whether you like their music or not, whether you like them or not, they are. Those are the two biggest names probably in music right now. And they couldn't do it. All of that star power meant nothing. Guys, we got to go back to the red. Go back to that map. You saw how much red was in that map. That means those celebrities did nothing to move the needle. Nothing. And I have to wonder, how much did it cost? How much did it cost the Democrats to grab all those celebs? Hell, the Avengers couldn't help them, right? You guys remember that cringy Avengers video that came out when they're all on a Zoom call together and telling horrible jokes, and oh God, just thinking about it, man, the cringe is just nuts. But we remember that. That didn't help them. You know what else didn't help Kamala Harris? The white dudes for Harris. What happened, man? What happened to the white dudes for Harris? Mark Hamill went into hiding for a while, but then he came out and you know, wrote a tweet about we get what we deserve, something like that. I don't care. But you know, Mark right now is probably in the shower, curled up in the fetal position, drinking cheap rum and crying. All these people thought that their celebrity meant more than food on our table, meant more than being raked over the coals at the gas station, paying ridiculous rental fees just to live, right? At least in California. Some of you other cats might be fine where you are, but in LA, we are getting raked over the coals, man. There's another word I want to use, but I don't want YouTube to get, you know. But they really thought that they had some kind of pull over our living situations, over the things that we need. You know, it's weird to me that a lot of the videos I'm seeing online right now, the meltdowns and all that, a lot of the things I keep seeing over and over is, you know, are you guys happy finally that you're going to get your cheap gas and your cheap eggs and all this shit? And I'm like, yeah. First of all, yeah. If Trump can do anything to lower groceries, absolutely. Absolutely. The day I voted, and by the way, I waited in a 3-hour line because I was a dumbass and I didn't do early voting. I decided to go on the day of and waited in a 3-hour line in the heat to cast my vote that I knew probably wouldn't do anything to move the needle in California. But hey, I wanted to say I voted. So I did it. And I waited in those 3 hours. I did it. Then right after that, I went to the grocery store because I had to pick up some things. And as the woman was ringing me up for the very few items I had, seeing it go over $100, the only thing that kept going through my mind was, yep, this is what I voted for. This right here is what I voted for. For that $100 worth of groceries that fit into one bag, one little bag. So bet your ass, I don't give a shit about your abortion rights. I don't give a shit about your pronouns, your DEI. I don't care. I don't care. And neither does most of America. If that helps. But guys, we have to understand we're witnessing a turn, right? We're witnessing history right now. You have to understand the scope of this. On every level, right? The legacy media dying, celebrities, no pull, no influence. The people are speaking now. Do you know how big that is? That's huge, man. We are speaking now. The grown-ups are speaking now. And they have no choice but to hear it. They threw everything they had and still failed. Everything they had. They threw Beyonce at us. I keep laughing, guys, at that because you have to understand. There's certain pages I go to on Instagram and X, and one is called the Shade Room, right? And it's kind of just it's a thing for Black people. And if you even knew how many posts I saw of people saying how, oh, it's over for Trump now. It's over for Trump. She got Beyonce now. And I'm reading these comments like, what? Most ridiculous shit in the world. And that's why I keep bringing up Beyonce, because it's like there are people who really thought that someone like Beyonce was more important than people putting food on their table. Like, they really think like this. They really think like this. And it's hilarious. But I want this to also be a lesson for Black folks, man. We got to stop. We got to stop. We got to stop. We got to stop with this bullshit. We got to stop being so easily impressed. We got to stop letting people, pander to us the way we do. We got to start coming to the table and asking for things, man. We got to stop giving away our vote. We don't owe anybody our vote. Anybody. We don't owe any party our vote. We got to stop doing this. Maybe this is a wake-up call that even Beyonce couldn't swing a win for Kamala Harris. Oh, and Kamala tried, man. She pandered her ass off. She got every single Black artist that's on the top 40 charts to cape for. It was embarrassing. Cardi B, Sexy Red, Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla. Some of you guys probably don't know these names, but you know what? There's no need to anyway. None of that worked. As someone who used to be a Democrat, I'm going to say this. We used to stand for something. Or you used to, I should say, because I'm no longer part of that shit. You used to stand for something. See, back in the 90s, being a Democrat, being a liberal meant fighting for things. Fighting against censorship. Fighting for freedom. Fighting to legalize weed. Fighting to, basically live the way we want to live without government interference. It's weird how the parties have switched, man. Because the Republicans back in the day were the ones who were trying to censor everything, ban everything, right? And some Democrats, don't get me wrong. Al Gore and his... I know she's dead, so I'm trying to be respectful. But his wife is the one who went after rap music back in the 90s. Or who led the charge against groups like NWA and the 2 Live Crew. But for the most part, the Liberal Party was the ones fighting for freedoms. For the most part. They have strayed from that. And if they don't find their way back, it's going to be not just a rough next 4 years. It's going to be a rough 12 years, man. it's going to be a rough 12 years because Vance can run. Okay. So you guys should really pull it back, go on a retreat somewhere, go meditate, think about all the things you did wrong, and then try to come up with a plan to get your party back to where it needs to be. Or don't. I don't care. I'm just happy Kamala's not. Kamala's not in office. So it is what it is. All right, I'm going to read a few more comments before I hop into this next topic. All right, so Andrew B. Even back in early 2000s, you saw the left start going down the crazy route. Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, though, I was part of that. I was cringe, man. I bought into it, and luckily I woke up. And you know what, guys? You got to leave room for grace, right? There are some people who are still waking up. You know what I mean? It's like the Matrix, right? Not everyone's ready to wake up just yet. So you got to like plant the seeds, and you got to just be patient, and hopefully more and more people wake up. Okay, and we saw it happen with the election. I've never seen so many black folks vote for Trump or vote for a Republican, period, as I have this year. So progress is happening, man. Real progress, not that bullshit that they call progress. Sentai Ranger, Donnie, not all Kamala supporters are Dems. A few Republicans have endorsed her. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it always goes kind of both ways, right? Let me do the super chat. Gen X Cynic for $1.99. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Darth Plato, 2000 to 2004 was a turning point for Dems. Kind of, right? Because that was the Bush years, right? That's when George W. First. No. I'm tripping. No. It was W, right? W was 2000 to like 2004. Yeah. I for me, it feels like the dim started really changing for me like around 2009, 2010, right around the time Barack got elected. Like I started seeing things, but I was still, I was still part of the system, so part of the party. Sergeant Garantina, let's see. Andrew B, it was 2009, 2012. Yeah, that sounds more right to me. That sounds more right to me. Around that time. Sentai Ranger Donnie, cheer up, fellow Cam supporters. Everything will be okay. Look, man, like I said, the wound is fresh. I get it. The wound is fresh, and it's gonna be a rough next couple of days. But at some point, they're gonna reach the acceptance part of the 5 stages of grief, right? At some point, they'll get to acceptance. But right now, it's still fresh. Darth Plato. Yeah, it was the Gore loss, Florida debacle, and then a Kerry loss, and Dick Gephardt pushed out of leadership. Yeah, I mean, but I guess it was a slow trickle, right? Because I think it wasn't felt until like later where you could really feel where the Democratic Party had changed. All right, so in other news that's not political, but sort of is, sort of. As much as I hate to talk about this girl again, I got some big news. Big news. Alyssa Mercante, who has been a thorn in the side of gamers for a while now, right? She is obnoxious. She is super woke, and she basically goes out of her way to shame and speak ill of gamers. This chick, yeah, look at that face. That's the face only a mother could love, and even then. But anyway, Alyssa Mercante, writer for Kotaku, which is the worst video game rag online. Alyssa Mercante has been fired, apparently, or she's leaving Kotaku. It could be a situation of both. Of yeah, she's resigning, but also they were going to fire her. But anyway, she wrote a note and decided to put it on X and announce her leaving. To her, I just say good riddance, man. But here's the problem. As much as I want to celebrate this, some other news came up about her. So some of you guys know Smash JT, side scrollers, all those guys, Grums, they all cover the video game stuff, and they're very reliable sources, very reliable sources. And most of you guys know, if you follow them, that Smash and Alyssa have been, going back and forth, as far as like she's trying to sue, she's trying to silence him, he's countersuing, that whole deal. So, but Smash put out a video today, and if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Smash put out a video where he talks about the details of her leaving Kotaku. And from what he said was, the problem isn't the fact that, that she's leaving, because that'd be great. Like if she just left and disappeared. No, she's not disappearing. Apparently, rumor has it that she is being recruited by a video game company, we don't know the name of it yet, to be their lead story designer along those lines, which means we haven't heard the last of this wretched, horrible woman yet. She is somebody that we still gotta unfortunately deal with. And I will say this, with Trump in office now and the climate changing, I'm thinking DEI is hopefully on its last legs. Like, I know it's not going to go quietly. It's not going to go peacefully, right? The people who have sunk their claws, their DEI claws into every industry, isn't going to just let it go. So we're going to be dealing with this, guys, for a while. So, Trump being in office, it might start the ball rolling, but we're still going to have to deal with these people, unfortunately. But yeah, she is no longer part of Kotaku. Now, it could be, like Smash said, a writing on the wall kind of situation where Kotaku might be going down as a outlet, which would be great, by the way. And hopefully IGN follows suit and they close down shop as well, because screw those guys. But it could be a writing on the wall situation as to why she's leaving. But the thought of her being the story designer for a gaming company, and here's and this is something you guys have to understand, for someone to hire her now after knowing who she really is, that's a choice. That's a choice. It's not like 5 years ago. This is now. All the stuff that's been on X, all the articles, all the videos about her, and they still want her. There's some shenanigans involved here. Something weird is up, right? And I know we like to use Sweet Baby Inc. as kind of like the boogeyman, right, of DEI shit, but I do feel like there is some influence there, because she's very tight with Sweet Baby Inc. So that might be something, or a part, to do with her decision to move on. I just think I think it's interesting. I just want gaming to get back to what it was, and she's one of the people who have helped make it what it is now. And I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it. You know, and thankfully we're all speaking with our money now because these companies are losing a shit ton of money. They're losing a shit ton of money, and I couldn't be happier. But I am going to stay up to date with this whole Alyssa Mercante thing. As much as I'm tired of seeing her ugly face. I'm sorry, man. I just got to say it. I got to say it. And I rarely ever call anyone ugly, but it's because she's ugly on the inside as well. She's ugly inside and out. So, sorry, I had nothing good to say about her and wish nothing but bad things for her. But I am gonna stay on top of this because now I'm very curious as to which gaming company did pick her up. If that's true, because now I need to know which company to avoid and not spend my money on. But you know, since we're on this train of thought, guys, can you imagine like a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, as Trump is, you know, rebuilding and seeing the culture change? Can you imagine us getting back to just fun games again? Fun games with badass guys, sexy ass women who are also badasses too, because they are. I mean, we all love Bayonetta. Just to get back to fun gaming, right? Getting back to going online and talking shit with your friends without offending some snowflake who can't handle being called names. I'm sorry, it is what it is. That's gaming. But if we can get back to that, man, if we can get back to that, I will be a happy, happy boy. All right, let me get to a couple more comments and then my last topic of the day. Geeka, hello. Geeka Moonin. Yes, please. They already ruined my favorite video game. They've ruined a lot of people's favorite video games, man. And honestly, take your pick. Take your pick, man. They have ruined a lot. All right, CD Sign 69. In the words of our 47th president, Alyssa, you're fired. I like that. Yeah, she is. I think. Darth Plato, give Miranda her butt back. Yes, please, man. There was just no need to change it. There was no need to change it. Oops, I read that one. And we'll read one more. Here we go. The Black Wizards. Trump was already president and nothing happened to those people who are crying right now. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. All of the crying, all of the antics, all of the videos, none of this works anymore. It doesn't work because we've seen his presidency. We saw what he did. He did nothing they said he was going to do. So all of this is hollow. It rings hollow. And we don't care anymore. We don't care. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with this last topic of the day because in case a lot of you guys don't know, man, happy in 7 days to those of you who observe the holiday. Mass Effect. It's a Mass Effect thing. Mass Effect is probably my favorite video game series of all time. I've said this on other shows before. This isn't something new. I have always loved Mass Effect from the first to the third. and that's where I end, right? I'm not going to ever count Andromeda as part of the Mass Effect series. But the reason why I'm talking about Mass Effect today is because it's actually N7 Day. It's November 7th. And if you guys have never played the game, N7 is basically the call sign for the Space Marine Special Ops. That's the best way I could, relate it if you've never played the game. And you play as the N7, which is Commander Shepard. So I just want to talk about this because there's some news that came that I'm going to get into in a minute, but I want to talk about Mass Effect because I don't get a chance to talk about it as much as I want to. Guys, if you've never played Mass Effect, man, you are missing out on probably one of the best space sagas of a video game or in a video game that you've never played, right? Mass Effect changed how I game because I was always a fighting game guy, right? Like I used to play tournaments. I would, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur is probably my favorite fighting game of all time. I was okay with Tekken. The combo system with Tekken is just a little too nutty for me. And I didn't really care for Virtual Fighter and some of the other 3D fighters. But King of Fighters, I got into a little bit for the most part. But mostly it was Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur. And yeah, man, those were my games. Like those kind of games were my games. And like I said, I did the local tournaments. I've been part of fighting game community for a very long time. But when Mass Effect came around, right, I really wasn't into RPGs, right? Or even action RPGs at the time. And a friend of mine begged me, right? Like begged me to play Mass Effect 1. So I played it. I was like, okay. Where's this going? And then it hits a part of the game where everything changed for me, where I felt like, oh, this is some of the best storytelling I've ever seen in a video game, right? I mean, this was like Star Wars level, and I'm talking before Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars, right? It was like epic. And the thing that brings you into this game, that draws you into this game more than anything, more than the gameplay, more than the story, is the characters in it, man. You become personally connected to these characters, man. Liara, Garrus, Tali, Rex, and this is just from Mass Effect 1. Ashley, Kate, and Alenko, like all these guys. I mean, these characters. That game is I can't tell you. I can't tell you how many times I played Mass Effect 1 through 3. And I think I played Mass Effect 2 probably more than all of them put together. Mass Effect 2 was, I put it on the level of like Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars 2, The Wrath of Khan. That level of sci-fi, that's where I put Mass Effect 2 for me. Loved it, right? And even though BioWare's in the shitter right now, even though BioWare is not the same company they used to be, like, as much as I despise what they're doing now, especially with Dragon Age, I always have a love for them when it comes to the old Mass Effect games. Now, I understand the same team that did Mass Effect isn't the same team that's there anymore. So I'm looking at old BioWare, not this bullshit that we have now. But I'm telling you guys, if you've never played Mass Effect, do yourselves a favor, man. The Legendary Edition that has all 3 games in one, play that. They did censor it a little tiny bit, like some of the girls who have some curves, they've cut a few things. I don't like it that they did that, but it's not bad. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. They did some shady things with this character named Miranda that I'm not happy about. And if you guys have played Mass Effect, you know what I'm talking about. Miranda is a secret agent who uses her sex appeal quite a bit in the game. But anyway, on this N7 Day, right? And the cool thing is, there's always news that comes out on N7 Day. Most of the time, it's bullshit news, right? It's like, oh, the next Mass Effect game is coming out soon, or images from the new Mass Effect. It never happens. It never happens. So I always take it with a grain of salt when I hear Mass Effect news on N7 Day. But I saw this today, and I guess this is happening, man. Apparently, and I don't think I'm happy about this. It says Mass Effect live action series is officially in development at Amazon. Now, I researched this. A lot of very well-known outlets or sites have confirmed this to be true. And if it is true, I'm not happy about it. And only because I love this series so much. I look, man, we saw what they did with Halo, right? We saw what they did with Halo. Amazon, I mean, right? God, what's that game? Why am I blanking out? Anyway, they just had another video game series that came out recently. Maybe you guys can help me in the chat. Damn it, what's the name of that? Anyway, guys, I'm spacing right now. But there was another video game property that they turned to a series that actually kind of turned Fallout. Why was I blanking out on Fallout? So Fallout came out, right? And it was not bad. It wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. Let me be fair. It was pretty good, especially because Walton Goggins is an amazing actor. I just don't trust Amazon with Mass Effect. I don't trust it, man. I don't want anybody touching this series, man, to be honest with you. Like back in the day, I used to pray that somebody in Hollywood would see the value in making this a movie series, right? 1, 2, and 3, right? I used to pray for that because it deserved to have a cinematic treatment. But seeing how they do things now, especially with DEI, oh man, I don't want them touching Mass Effect. But regardless to what I want, it looks like it is happening. So officially, Mass Effect is happening as a TV show. It is coming out. I don't know when. It's in development. Now, here's the thing though. Just because it's in development doesn't mean it's going to happen. A lot of things in development fall through. Maybe they'll realize that this would be way too expensive to make into a show. Because if they want to do it right, they got to spend money. They got to spend big money if they want to do this show right. But I don't know. I'm not optimistic about it at all. I'm just tired of seeing the things that I love, the properties I love. I'm tired of seeing them get bastardized by these corporations who don't care, these studios who don't care about them. I think we're all tired of it. Like that's it. I'm not saying anything new here. We're all tired of it, right? But it's happening. And all I hope is that they go with male shepherd, because in the game you could choose between a female or a male, which is fine. I've chosen both in different playthroughs, and they both play fine. They're both great. I would just rather see a male shepherd in a show. But when I think about the makeup, the visual, the VFX, this is going to be an expensive show to make. And if they don't do it right, man, it's it's going to make a lot of people sad. That's all I'm going to say. Me being one of them. I might have to drink. But anyway, guys, happy N7 Day if you observe the holiday. I'm going to read a couple of more, and I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Seth Coma, I would like to see either First Contact War or Anderson Mission with Saren as a series, but not anymore. That would be really cool. I thought about that. The First Contact War. I think the only problem with the First Contact War is, you know, I think they want to kind of just jump into what we know from the video game. Like, I've always wanted the First Contact War to be a different video game. Like, I want it to be a prequel game. Like, that would be cool. But I don't know. And yeah, and Anderson Saren, that would be amazing, man. Admiral Anderson in the game, guys, is voiced by the man himself, Keith David, and he does an amazing job. Kevin Francis, I'm still trying to figure out to help Miranda. So you must be talking about, oh wait, but which one? Like her mission, because she has two missions, one in the second game, one in the third game. The second game's her loyalty mission. So here's the thing: if you don't do her loyalty mission, she'll die in the last battle. So it's up to you whether you want to keep Miranda around, right? And if she dies in the second game, she's not in the third game. And guys, that was the magic of Mass Effect, right? It's the first game I ever played where your choices you make really meant something for the next game, because you transfer not just your character, you transfer their choices into the next game. So you're still playing as the same character with the choices you made from the first game. First time I ever played anything like that, and I was literally blown away. And the consequences of whatever you did in the previous game carries over. Mass Effect was something special, man. It was something very different. Geek Moomin, Mr. Noodle, I want to play R2D2. Did you like that one too? You guys are probably talking about Battlefront, and if you are, love that game. Really love that game. God, Battlefront was a really good game, man. Anyway, Battlefront 2 as well. I like Battlefront 2, but the first Battlefront was amazing. All right, Cornite Caribbeer, the big reveal with Legion and the Geth was so great. Love to take on a robot race. Yeah, man. Legion was probably the craziest addition to the crew, but I loved every minute of it. I love the interaction between Legion and Tali, and her apprehension of working with Legion. And oh man, there's just so much about Mass Effect I love. Shepherd Commander. Yep. Darth Plato. That's how Legion would say it. And just guys, I mean, to be able to see the Geth on screen, to see the Collectors, right? To see the Reapers, like, of course I want that. Why wouldn't I want that? But I don't trust these studios, man. But can you imagine seeing a Krogan on screen, live action? Oh my God, man. See, that's the thing, guys. I could talk about Mass Effect all day. Easily talk about it all day. Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2. Got it. Funny enough, never played one of those games. I know Red Dead is a great game. I Rockstar, was one of my favorite companies. For some reason, always off my radar. But I know people love Red Dead Redemption. So, and you know what? Now I'm in this phase right now where I'm playing old games anyway, because I refuse to give these companies my money right now. I'm going back and playing older games right now, so I might actually go back and play Red Dead now. All right, I'm gonna read one more, and that's it. Oops, I already read that one. Seth Coma, a prequel game would be great too. You know, I wouldn't mind a prequel game actually. I think something like the Reapers should be almost like a last season thing, right? Like, or a last 2 seasons thing. It should be like the White Walkers in Game of Thrones, right? Like you don't start off with the Reapers. You start off with something more smaller, right? Something more localized, like, you know, or you know what? Honestly, they could do the first season based on all the mercenary gangs, man, like the Blood Pact and the Blue Suns and the Eclipse, right? Like it could be just about the space gangs for the first season. And Arya, you know, Arya and Omega, right? Like there's a lot. They hire me, Amazon, hire me to be your story director. Hire me, and I'll make this work. I'll make this work. Last one, Dark Plato. Quarians and Geth are going to give non-fans a big BSG vibe. Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, probably. Yeah, actually, the more I'm thinking about it, yeah, it definitely will. But man, can you imagine though seeing like the Quarian suits on live screen in live action? I mean, I don't know. I think it'd be really cool. So anyway, guys, man, like I said, I could talk about Mass Effect all night, but anyway, that's gonna be it for me. Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much for showing up every week. I greatly appreciate you guys. I do, like I said, I've my Patreon is up now. Like I said, I'm dropping videos for it every week, and most of those videos, basically all those videos, just things I really can't talk about on YouTube for reasons, but I'm free to talk about on Patreon without being censored. So I always put the Patreon in the link, and I'll do that as soon as the show is done. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for showing up every week. I greatly appreciate you guys. Definitely, you know, like the video. That always helps me so much in the algorithm because YouTube goes out of their way to bury me. So if you like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Comment all you want, share the videos, all that good stuff. And guys, we did it. It's a new day in America, man. We got a new president, we got a new administration, and hopefully soon we could fix all the things that are wrong right now with the country. So anyway.